Hi guys, and welcome to Learn Turkish channel. So in this video, you're gonna get some insights into the Turkish language, know what kind of language it is, see all the basics of the grammar, the differences to the English language, and you will also be able to decide if it's a hard or a rather easy language for you to learn. So stick around. The first thing that I want to point out before actually speaking about grammar is that Turkish belongs to the Turkic language family, which means, even though it is partially located in Europe and partially located in Asia, it is not a European language and it is not an Arabic language either, which is a big misconception about Turkish, because a lot of people around the world believe that Turkish is an Arabic language. It is not. Turks and the Turkish language originate from Central Asia. It is a language that is over 700 years old. Just over 100 years ago, the official language was Ottoman Turkish, which was highly influenced by Persian and Arabic. And the alphabet was also the Arabic alphabet. However, in 1928, founder of the modern Republic of Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, switched over to the Latin alphabet, which led to the fact that the literacy rate skyrocketed. And by doing that, he also wanted that a lot of Arabic and Persian words were replaced by Turkish words, so some old Turkish words were brought back to life, and also some new words were created. But some Arabic and Persian words still exist in today's Turkish, and for that reason we sometimes have two words with the same meaning, and we use them both equally. For example, we have basit and kolay, which both mean easy in Turkish. Or we have hafıza and bellek, which both mean memory in Turkish. And most of the time, we're not really aware of the actual origin of the word, so we just use them both. Okay, so most people ask, is Turkish a hard language for me to learn? Well, it depends, because Turkish is an agglutinative language, and let me put it this way, it's a whole different kind of language. When you're a native English speaker, or when your mother tongue is a Latin language or a European language, you might have struggles thinking in Turkish. Because it is structurally different. Well, I hear you asking, what does agglutinative language mean? It means that Turkish doesn't really like to add words to add meaning to a sentence. It rather adds prefixes and suffixes, and thus behaves in a different way than other languages you might know. I'll give you an example on that. For instance, the word comfortable is rahat in Turkish. If you want to say uncomfortable, you say rahatsız. If you say rahatsızlık, you suddenly have a noun and say discomfort. If you say rahatsızlıklar, it becomes plural. Then you can say rahatsızlıkları, which means their discomfort. Rahatsızlıklarından means because of their discomfort. And then you can do some reported speech and say rahatsızlıklarındanmış, which would mean it was because of their discomfort. That's why in Turkish we can have words like, which is one word, and literally means, as though you are from those whom we may not be able to easily make into a maker of unsuccessful ones. Well, as you can imagine, this is not a common Turkish word, and we don't usually do that. So let this not bother you. The most appreciated thing about Turkish is that it is a gender-neutral language. We don't have any genders, so you can't go he, she, it in Turkish. You just say o, which literally means he, she, it, but without gender. So in English, for instance, when I say he is going, you could tell that it's a male person, right? But in Turkish, it would be o gidiyor. So by only looking at the sentence, you would not be able to tell if it's a man, a woman, a transgender, an animal, or maybe an object. And that's great because there's no need to know more about this, right? We can just look at the context. And what's also cool about Turkish is that we don't have articles. The word the doesn't exist in Turkish. You really have to think about other languages. Not only English, but for instance German, has 3 articles which makes it really hard to learn. But in Turkish, when you want to say the car, you just go araba, which is car and the car. So thank you, Turkish. Unlike English verbs, Turkish verbs are being conjugated. This might sound a little weird to English speakers, but on the plus side, Turkish doesn't have any irregular verbs unlike German or Spanish. If you want to learn German or Spanish, you have to know how to conjugate verbs, and then you have to memorize all the irregular verbs, and that drives people crazy. Turkish is way easier when it comes to that. Okay, here's another fact about Turkish. Turkish is a phonetic language. Although many people claim that it is not, it is yes. We can say, out of all the languages I know, It is one of the closest to be phonetic, but it is not exactly. I will talk about this when I teach you the alphabet. You will see and understand. We can divide speaking Turkish into two. 1. Casual conversation with our family and friends. 2. Speak formally and politely with colleagues and strangers. Asking someone, "How are you?" If we want to say, our friend asks, "Nasılsın?" and the stranger asks, "Nasılsınız?" we say. We will learn all of this in the next videos. Let me talk about other differences in the Turkish language. If you want to say your name, you can say, "Ben Deniz." So, I'm Deniz. You wouldn't say that in a job interview, but if you met a friend's friend, for example. Instead of, "I'm Deniz," you can also say, "My name is Deniz," which would be, "Benim adım Deniz." Okay, here's a big difference in the Turkish language that I want to point out, because it is very important in spoken Turkish. As you might have noticed when I introduced myself, I said "Ben Deniz," which literally translates into "I am Deniz," so I haven't used a verb in a sentence. Why is that? Well, it is because the actual way of saying it would be "Ben Denizim," because the word be in Turkish is olmak, and if you want to conjugate it and use it in a sentence, you have to say "Ben Denizim." However, we don't generally do that. You can't hear a lot of people actually say it that way. So in a lot of cases in spoken Turkish, the verb be becomes redundant. It is not 100% grammatically correct to use it that way, but it is what we do in spoken Turkish. I know this might sound weird to any English, German, Spanish, and French speaker, because you guys probably can't imagine how that works. How can I say I am without using the word am, right? But we do, and it doesn't sound wrong. That's why a lot of Turkish people struggle with learning English and using the word be, actually. The same applies to the word have in Turkish. Have means sahip olmak, but we generally don't use that. We express it in a different way. Instead of using the word have in Turkish, we generally use the word var, which is literally translated into there is or there are. So if you want to have a literal translation of the sentence, I have a car, in Turkish it would be ben bir arabaya sahibim, but in most cases, people will not say that. We rather say benim arabam var, which literally translates into there is a car that belongs to me, but it definitely sounds like I have a car. So don't think we're weird. Foreigners really have to get used to the fact that we don't really use the words be and have in spoken Turkish that much. As I said, it might feel a little bit odd in the beginning, but you get used to it. Okay, I think by now you should have an idea about the Turkish language. That's all for now. See you in the next video. Write in the comments what you want to learn. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done it yet, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to make sure to receive notifications when we post a video. Thank you very much. Çok teşekkürler.